Good morning. This is Thursday, July 30th, 2020. This is our fourth try at this morning. For some reason, my phone switches to slow-mo, which is really weird. So hopefully this one will go through. I was delighted this morning to see that Psalm 23 was in the reading. Psalm 23 is incredible. I believe Psalm 23 is the pivot point of all doctrine. I believe it is the absolute surety of salvation and life. I believe it exalts God as nothing else does. Psalm 23 is incredible, not just from a literary and poetic uh, value, which is, to me, is just unsurpassed. But I want to look at Psalm 23 perhaps a little different this morning. We could spend, my goodness, we could spend 5 millennia looking at this psalm and never do more than scratch the surface of it. It is absolutely eternal. The truth of this psalm begins before the creation of time, and it extends absolutely forever. The truth of this psalm never ends. In this psalm is all the doctrine of salvation, all the doctrine of redemption, all the doctrine of the nature of God. It is so, so very deep. And amazingly, Psalm 23 is very much a continuation of Psalm 22. Because when we look at the first 5 words of Psalm 23, those first 5 words, the Lord is my shepherd, those 5 words are pivotal to everything. If those 5 words are not true, then nothing is true. But what does it mean, He is our shepherd? How did the Lord come to be our shepherd? We have to look into Psalm 22 to answer that question. So I want to read part of Psalm 22, and then we're going to look at Psalm 23. Psalm 22, verse 11 says, "Be not far from me, for trouble is near, for there is none to help." This is a message from Jesus when He was on the cross. Was Jesus a shepherd when He was on the cross? He was. But our shepherd is not like a normal shepherd. Our shepherd became a sheep. He became the lamb that takes away the sin of the world. That's why there is no other shepherd like Him. He said, "Many bulls have surrounded me, strong bulls. They open their mouth wide. They're as a ravening and roaring lion, and I am poured out like water. All my bones are out of joint. My heart is like wax. It is melted within me. My strength is dried up like a potsherd. My tongue cleaves to my jaws. And thou dost lay me in the dust of death. For dogs have surrounded me. A band of evildoers has encompassed me. They pierced my hands and my feet. I can count all my bones. They look and they stare at me. They divide my garments among them, and they cast lots for my raiment." Our shepherd was the Lamb. He was the guilt offering for us. If we look at Leviticus 5 and 6, if we look at Isaiah 53, if we look at John the 10th chapter, and 1 Peter the 2nd chapter, and if we culminate that in Revelation chapter 6 and 7 and 8, we see a picture of who our shepherd is. He is a shepherd. He is a lamb. He is also a lion. The Lord, this Lord, is my shepherd. He is your shepherd. And because of that, because He knows what it is to be a sheep, He knows how to fulfill every need. He knows where the pastures of green grass are. He knows where the best waters are. He knows the paths of righteousness, the paths that are His, the right paths. And in those paths, He restores our souls. Our bodies may be degrading, but our souls are not. Our souls are nourished by the shepherd every day as we walk with him in his paths of rightness. We'll walk through the valley of the shadow of death, most of us, but there's no fear. There's no fear because we're with our shepherd. He has a rod. He has a staff. It's a beautiful study to look at the rod and the staff. They comfort us because they're our shepherds. And because of his rod and his staff, we learn to hear his voice and follow him in those paths of righteousness and not stray. And because of that, our souls continually are restored. And even in the presence of our enemies, there is no fear. All our enemy can do is sit and watch while he anoints our head with his oil, his spirit, his anointing, his virtue, his life. And he gives us a cup that overflows, but that cup is not being filled from the top. That cup is being filled from the bottom because that oil produces within us a gushing stream of living water that flows from our innermost being. That is what it is like to walk with our shepherd. And he gives us two traveling companions, goodness and mercy. They're always with us no matter what we go through. Even if we go through times when we can't sense or we don't feel that close connection with the shepherd, our traveling companions are still there. They don't ever leave us. Goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. And then the great crescendo. We get to dwell with him in his house. We get to go home with the shepherd, and we never have to leave again. Oh, what a blessed shepherd we have. He provided all of this for us. Go walk with your shepherd today. Call out to him, cry out to him. Let him hear your voice and instill your heart so you can hear his. Go and be blessed. Bye-bye.